Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and following Sony's big PS5 reveal and Microsoft's earlier deep dive into the Xbox Series X, I can't wait to get my hands on these next-gen consoles. Which got me thinking, is it possible to build a gaming PC now with specs as close as possible to the new consoles and get that next-gen gaming experience? How much would it cost? What kind of performance would you get? And actually, would it be better value to just build your own PC rather than waiting for the PS5 or Series X? Well, here's one I made earlier. Meet the PS5/Xbox Series X/ actually a PC Mark I. And this is my attempt at building a gaming PC that's going to give us as close to a next-gen gaming experience as possible using off-the-shelf parts. So we've got an 8-core AMD Ryzen processor, 16 gigs of RAM, an AMD Radeon 5700 XT, although you could also go with a similarly priced RTX 2070 if you want ray tracing, as well as a ridiculously fast Sabrent 1TB PCIe 4 SSD. All wrapped up neatly in this NZXT H1 Mini ITX case, which I'm sure you'll agree offers more than a passing resemblance to the Series X. Now actually building the PC was the easy part. I mean, the beauty of the H1 I have here is that the AIO cooler and the PSU are already installed, so all I had to do on one side was install the CPU, the motherboard and cooling, and then on the other the graphics card connected by riser cable. So having gone to the trouble of actually building this thing, can it give us that PS5 Series X next-gen gaming experience today? Well, the answer is no, not really actually. It's a lot more complicated than you might think. Honestly, this video hasn't really turned out as I'd planned, but in a good way actually, and it's taught me a whole lot about how the PC and the consoles differ, and also why this generation of consoles is actually probably the most exciting ever. It's the first time that they're going to go beyond what you can actually get with a high-end gaming PC now. Usually these consoles are just playing catch-up before they even launch. The thing is, the consoles are largely based on PC tech, but they're so heavily customized and have so many new developments that making any comparison with a PC is incredibly hard. But let's dive a little deeper, and while the tech in both consoles are pretty similar to each other, yes I know there's some slight difference in teraflops and the SSD read and write speeds, but largely they're based on similar specs. So how is that different to my PC here? Well, the underlying AMD Zen 2 processor tech is very similar. I've also gone, as I say, with an 8-core 16-thread chip, which is what we're getting in the new consoles, but they're not off-the-shelf parts, and they're going to be custom-made and also probably have lower clock speeds to keep it cool. As for the graphics, well, the console's GPUs are based on AMD's RDNA 2 graphics tech, which isn't even available for PC yet. And this brings ray tracing and around 50% greater efficiency, which is massive. So custom processors, graphics cards that just aren't available yet, and then we've got the RAM. Both new consoles will offer 16GB of fast GDDR6 RAM, which is shared between the CPU and the GPU, while on the PC it's separate, and the system RAM is just regular DDR4. The motherboard's design and I/O speeds are also different as well, and then there's the SSD drive that's faster than pretty much any PCIe 4 storage available right now. I mean, we're getting some pretty crazy speeds from this PCIe 4 Sabrent M2, but as Linus talked about recently, you can't just look at the specs and say the read and write times of this drive and say, well, that's faster than this, therefore this will load games quicker, because it's all down to the software optimizations and the fact that consoles have a standard spec. And yes, while cross-platform games will have to still deal with slow hard drives, exclusive next-gen games will be able to fully take advantage and utilize that performance and even design games differently, so there's no elevators or walkways where they have a conversation while all the textures load in. Anyway, we'll come back to actual performance in a second, but let's talk about pricing and also value for money, because while these next-gen consoles look super exciting and the performance is, as I say, up there, if not beyond high-end gaming PCs right now, that's all going to come at a cost, and chances are a conservative high-end estimate is probably going to be between £500 and £600, maybe $600 for the PS5. Maybe a little less for the digital-only edition, and perhaps Sony and Microsoft will sell the consoles at a loss, so that they actually sell more, but then you buy more games and you subscribe to their online services. Again, something you don't have to do with PCs. But chances are, at the high end, we're looking at about £600 for a new console. So how does that compare to this guy? Well, all in, my build here cost roughly £1,400 or around $1,600. And I had to build it myself to save money. That's around 2.5 times more expensive. And it's also without a 4K Blu-ray drive. Now, to be fair, I went with a X570 motherboard in here, although I would recommend, if I were to build this again, and to you guys, to go with a B550, but at the time of filming, they just weren't available, or at least not many of them in the mini-ITX format. So a B550 would save you about £50, and also, if you weren't too bothered about going for a console-sized PC and just went with an ATX motherboard, then you could probably save another 100 or 150, so that would bring it down a bit, but you're still looking at twice the price of a next-gen console. But hold up, because saying, oh, well, you know, this is twice as much as a PS5, therefore this is rubbish and no one should buy a PC like this, is too simplistic, because don't forget, a games console is just for gaming. You can also use the power of this for photo and video editing, web browsing, you know, working on whatever you need. It's not just about gaming, so you get a lot more flexibility when you build a PC. Not only that, but you can customize the components yourself. Maybe you want to hold back on a processor, go for a quad core because that's maybe all you need for gaming, but then put more into the graphics, and also potentially much bigger storage options. And of course, also upgradability. You could change something out in 6 months or a year if you get a good deal on something, whereas you're stuck with your console forever, and then maybe you have to upgrade to the Pro version in 2 or 3 years anyway. So upgradability, flexibility, and the fact that it's not just about gaming are real selling points and advantages of a PC. So there's pros and cons for both, but what about actual performance? How does my build actually play games? I mean, that's kind of the point of this video, to show you the performance that you'd get if you were to build a next-gen kind of level PC, but using parts available today. And while it differs from the new consoles for all the reasons I've mentioned, it might just give us some indication of a base level of performance we can expect from both new machines. So ideally, I'm looking to hit 60 FPS in each game at 4K resolution. Okay, starting off with Call of Duty and jumping into a bit of Warzone, with ultra settings, I actually hit 64 FPS at 4K, which looks great. Rainbow Six Siege is another title due to launch on next gen, and again at 4K with very high settings, I hit a respectable 86 frames per second. Red Dead Redemption 2 did struggle though, I managed just 36 FPS at 4K with high settings. And finally in Fortnite, another confirmed launch title for the new consoles, 4K is possible, but I had to drop to medium-high settings to get over 60 FPS. Now I promise you, I'm not a PC master race or a console fanboy kind of guy. I just love good tech and I like being able to play as many games as possible. And this has been such an interesting video to make. On paper, the 8-core processor, the PCI 4 SSD with crazy high read and writes, and the graphics are all a really good system, although I think actually I would go with the 2070 rather than the Radeon 5700 XT because I did have some overheating issues with it. This was a little bit better, and also you get ray tracing support with this, which you don't currently on the RDNA 1 architecture we get in here, but of course we will with RDNA 2. And as I say, for the first time, I think we're going to get a new generation of consoles that are beyond what you can currently buy in a high-end gaming PC. And I just don't think we've seen that before, which is why I'm so excited to see these next-gen games, particularly exclusives, jumping between huge worlds instantly. You just wouldn't be able to do that with a traditional hard drive, for example. So they will be expensive in console terms, but hopefully this video has maybe given you some perspective that versus a PC, the PS5 and Xbox Series X look like a bargain. And yes, I know you still have to subscribe to their online services. Games can be more expensive. So there are, nuances to it, but as a whole, in terms of the tech that you're getting, it's a bargain. But the real question, PS5 or Series X? Which one do you think is going to be better? I'm sure we can remain civilized and have a very constructive adult conversation in the comments about this. And also, what do you think of this build? Do you think I've done a reasonable job? Do you like the H1? And would you have changed out any of the components? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. And if you do want to see more from me, if you're not sick of my face and my voice already, then hit that little subscribe button down below, ding that bell so you'll be the first to know when I publish a new video. And I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chat.